tremendous. So I got a couple of questions.
Yeah,
I know
let's
we're
do
kind
this.
of going all over the place. Your
it.
proudest or fondest teaching moment or memory? I was going to ask you your favorite kid, but I'm not going to do that. I won't do that. I won't out you like that.
Nah.
But your proudest, fondest, most memorable
So-
teaching moment.
You know this. I'm sure if any of if your former students or my former students are watching, coaching for me has been like a really huge part of my teaching career. I find that I've had such a love for sport growing up. I feel like it's defined me.
Okay.
And I've had great coaches, and I really wanted to give that opportunity back to kids.
Yeah.
It was super important. Now that I'm a teacher, I have that opportunity, and so I'd say one of my kind of proudest moments, and it seems cliche, but all the championships, and all the banners that we've raised up. Such proud moments for me. I mean, you and I have put so many hours, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours in the gym, and we've never seen a penny for it, right? We do it because we love it.
And it's funny because a lot of parents think that we get paid to do that.
Oh, heck no.
Right? And then so when like teachers go on work tour or they're on strike and things like that, it's the first thing that people take away. They're like, okay, well, we're not going to do any extracurriculars. And I remember like watching, I can't remember what news outlet it was, but it was like, teachers are paid to do that, right? If they're paid to do that, they should be doing it. Why is that being taken away? And I'm like, but it's an extracurricular. It's an extracurricular.
Yeah.
Right?
Above and beyond all of our duties that we have as teachers.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, we've never fielded the strongest, the fastest, the tallest teams ever, the most athletic, the most talented teams. And we found a way.
Yeah.
And through just this crazy determination, and just that's some of the proudest things is like how kids have bonded together to create what a winning championship team should be. Kids that bond together will bleed together, will work together,
work in the trenches together, all of that stuff,
and dig themselves out. And how many timeouts have we called? We're down 2 and the game's in the balance. And the kids are hijacked emotionally because the moment's too big.
Yeah.
And we call
they're still kids,
we
though,
call
right?
that timeout, and we just tell them like,
oh my gosh, I know of like 3 like on the top of my head of epic timeout coaches talks. Like I just
and we've trained for this.
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is our time.
Okay. So I'll go there and we'll come back to this question. Your most defining coaching moment, because you're talking about kind of all the banners we've won, and we've won a ton of banners for the size of schools that we're at.
Yeah.
Your defining coaching moment, whether it's a championship, whether it's a play, whether it's off the court, like what would you say?
I feel like there was, and I remember this, so when we won regionals for the second time with our dynasty
above
girls.
The 6, George Thomas, shout out, love you, man.
And I saw his podcast. He's a good guy. He's a great coach. And we have lost to that darn team and that group of girls every single time we play them. We've never beat them.
Yeah.
And I remember when we found out that was a team we were going to face for the finals in the grade 8, at the regional level, final game. And you and I know, and that was a culmination of 5 years of work with that particular group, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And the game started, and we just stomped them, and we were just, and what I remember,
we were relentless.
Relentless. Our defense was impeccable, right? Like we had that 1-3-1 going. It was
defense
bananas.
wins games.
It was bananas. And we were shutting them, and I slowly started to see the will kind of leave the other team.
Yeah.
It's just like they didn't believe at that point. And I remember George called
I remember.
So I remember this moment.
Yeah.
And I turned to the kids.
Yeah.
And I guess they were looking at the scoreboard, and I said, no.
Yeah.
Don't look at
You haven't won anything yet.
You haven't won anything.
Yeah. Our coaches' hats are coming on right now.
You haven't won
You haven't won anything
because
yet.
you and I know that was a critical moment.
Yeah.
He called that timeout because he knew even early on in that game, the game was slipping.
Yeah.
The championship was slipping.
Yeah.
And
They
and you and I
stomped us in exhibition games.
yes,
Like stomped us.
made us look silly. Almost.
Like our girls were
Ran us out of
afraid
the
to
gym.
our girls were afraid to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, as important of a moment it was for the opposing coach, that was such an important moment for us, because if they started resting on that lead,
Yeah.
right,
Oh my god.
and changing and letting the momentum slip,
Yeah.
we don't win that game.
Yeah.
Right? I know they come back. They had all the talent in the world.
And I
to
have
beat us.
been a huge proponent of this, and you always you remember this about me. I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to be the best,
You gotta beat the best.
you got to beat the best, and
Heck
by
yeah.
beating the best,
Heck yeah.
you're going to play the best to be the best. I've always said that to everyone, because everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to play that team. They've beat us before," and I'm like, "No. You want to play the teams that have beat us before in the games that matter
And
the
games that
most,
matter the most in the championship game.
because then there is no doubt. There is no doubt that you got the easy road to the championship. You played the easiest teams in the easiest bracket. I never did that. I remember we were playing against Glen Shields, and we went a perfect season in volleyball, and they beat us in a tournament that mattered. So they knocked us off first place. We went after the round robin. We played. We met them in the finals, and the boys were just like, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Kim,
Amped
they
up.
beat us. They beat
were
us."
amped up.
And I'm like, "No, now you take it back. This is the time that you prove to them, be like, that loss was somehow a fluke. You weren't playing your A game, and now you." And it's always happened to be that way. I don't know, every team that we've been a part of, we end up playing like a team that's beaten us before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For the finals or for a championship. Like, huge shout out to Marty Lee, who's in a phenomenal program at Carville Mills.
Great guy.
They should have been there with us like all the way through, right? So things like that,
Yeah, I think that moment and that timeout, and then seeing how our girls,
Yeah.
and they almost got more fired up,
yeah.
and then our defense got even tighter, and
You and I both know, though, skill gets you so far. This is
the mental
tremendous in
especially
our
basketball.
age brackets, like where we coach. Like I would say it's the strongest. If you have a strong mental game, you can win the whole thing.
Heck yeah.
Because we can teach kids how to dribble and how to shoot. But I remember even talking to George about this, having kids build the mental fortitude to work through those valleys and stuff. Tremendous. Not a lot of kids have
And
it.
band together.
Not like
right?
yeah.
It was a special group, and unforgettable.
Yeah. Your toughest coaching moment, coach.
Toughest coaching moment?
It's funny because I've been with you for so
Actually,
long through a
yeah.
lot of this, right?
Yeah.
So I know some of them.
Co-coach.
I've never asked you formally your toughest coaching moment.
You know what it is? It was cutting kids, and you're gonna laugh, but I cut a kid, and it was my call,
Yeah.
right? And you questioned me on this, and I cut this kid, Matthew, you remember? And I cut him from the basketball team, right? And we were going through the list, and it's so tough, by the way.
It's tough.
Sure, other coaches are listening.
It's
like,
tough.
It's really tough. I mean, we can't field teams of 30, 40, and the kids aren't going to get playing time. We're not going to, be able to develop that many kids anyways.
Yeah.
And I remember this kid was just green. I mean, he had all the desire.
Yeah.
And I cut him.
Yeah.
And I made that decision.
Yeah.
And
I
it
remember
ended
being
up
like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
kid's got mad hops though.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, he's
Yeah,
he's
he's a little
uncoordinated.
fumbly
He's like
and-
double dribble king. Like,
yeah, and I obviously I regret it because something happened for behavior reasons. We had to let a kid go, and then Matthew came back on the team, and I remember in the finals, I distinctly remember the finals, him just going off. I'm like, and
Boardman gets paid.
talk about Boardman gets
No,
paid.
seriously.
He understood. Like, listen, his role is to bust his butt on defense and to grab
those bones.
grab those
Oh
boards.
man.
And for whatever reason, he just figured out the timing.
Yeah.
He knew
I
the
remember that.
trajectory.
Yeah.
And we taught him.
He would go to meet the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas most kids
And I'm
wait for it
talking
to come.
about-
Yeah.
He perfectly boxed out, and
Yeah.
he laid bodies down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking textbook.
Yeah.
And I remember in the finals, and the shot went up, and I just watched, and the game slows down.
Yeah.
I mean, every player, every coach knows it in those defining moments. It's like
Yeah.
the world turns a little bit slower, And I remember the shot going up, and I remember out of the corner of my eyes Matthew seeing the shot going up and him just not looking at the ball.
Yeah.
The first, and just he looked, he found his guy.
Yeah.
He laid the ball down, he perfectly boxed out. He grabbed that board, got hacked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Went to the free throw line and iced the game and won us a championship. And that was our first boys basketball
Area championship.
Area
I remember.
championship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was our first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I cut that kid, right? And he had a great attitude about it
Yeah.
too. Never sulked.
Yeah, that was that. I remember
was
that,
crazy.
right? He wasn't like, "Oh, why did I get cut? This sucks.
This
You guys
sucks."
suck." Yeah, yeah. I
He
remember that.
was so thankful for the opportunity to come back onto the team, and he made the best of it. And it was a low moment, but obviously a high moment. as
Let me
well.
ask you, because I was formerly a teacher, but we work in the public system.
Yeah.
And what do you do when parents come up to you? You'd be like, "Hey, you cut my kid, right?
It's happened. Yeah.
Why did you cut my kid?"
Yeah.
Like, parents are doing that. They're becoming advocates. And I'm not saying that parents, they're not allowed to do that 100%. I had parents coming to me all the time, be like, Mr. Kim, like, I'm just curious as to why my kid was cut and things like
Yeah.
that.
It was
Because
it was,
there's this look, as much as we're a public system, right? But when we're coaching, right, are we always just supposed to coach for fun?
So I mean, we play in a competitive environment,
Yeah.
right? And we play for
Like, I guess,
for
how do you
championships
handle
and
that?
yeah.
Handle parents who do that?
And it's happened numbers. I know
Yeah.
you fielded phone calls the same, and it's the same thing I tell the kids.
Yeah.
Right, this is the toughest thing that we do as coaches.
Yeah.
These are not easy decisions.
Yeah.
But the team can only be X number of
We can't
players.
take everyone. We
Can't take everyone, and we make the best decision we can with the information we have and what we know. How you performed in tryout, and I think you've done this a lot too. I know it's probably where I learned it. Actually, it's just to encourage the parents to encourage your kids to keep going.
Yeah.
I was cut from a
Yeah.
grade 9 basketball team.
Yeah.
Coach pulled me aside and just said, "Sorry, like,
Yeah.
you're just," and I'm not strong enough to play the position, and gotta let you go. And this was after the first practice, so I had made the team, I
Yeah.
guess, and they let 2 kids go in the first practice. I was one of them. I was crushed. But that summer, I picked up a basketball. I went to the courts every single day, and I shot free throws, and I worked on my game.
Yeah.
And I tried to create an outside shot for myself, something I didn't have.
Yeah.
And I made the team in grade 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then teachers went on strike, and I never got to play a game.
Wah, wah, wah.
But I learned so much right from that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad my mom didn't get on the phone and call.
Allowing your kids to fail.
Yeah. It was the best thing for me because it made me hungry,
Yeah.
right? To prove that coach wrong.
Yeah.
I love when people doubt me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I hope that's got to be a quote. I love when people doubt me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because it gives me the fire on the inside
Yeah.
and listen, I'm going to do what I do in my life
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
right? Because it's
But it's
what
that
I want.
extra little
But it's
push.
that extra little,
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes people need that fuel.
I love when people doubt me. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I want to get back to the first question. Your fondest teaching moment. So I'll just qualify that by in the classroom, not in the gym or on the courts, or even on the school level.
Yeah, so
Not coaching level.
I would say it has to be like, and not any one stands out, but all the times that we've been able to give back to the community.
Yeah. Was there any social action project that you're really, really fond? Like,
definitely all the food drives.
Sure.
Definitely raising money for homeless youth in Canada through hat sales. All the stuff we've done around clean water projects.
Yeah.
And raising money for water initiatives, the one room schoolhouses
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, these things will be with me forever because these are moments when kids have realized that even as children they have an impact on the world.
Yeah.
Right? They have, with their own, just intuition, hard work, whatever, been able to raise money, raise funds for organizations that are making a difference. And they've done that as children.
Yeah.
And we've stepped back. We let them take the lead and allow them the opportunity to truly make a difference in the world.
That's huge. Allow them the opportunity, but just, it's not that we're just be like, hey, decide on whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But we say, here's a platform. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then the kids really start to dig at it. And I think that's huge. And I would say that for me, that's probably the proudest moment as a teacher. I do want to share one experience because we're just talking about just building that moral compass, that capacity to do well for others. I've been a huge proponent of paying it forward. I know you have as well. And I do want to share this one piece. I remember it being the Terry Fox walk at school. Every school does it. And we were supposed to do it on a Friday. It got rained out, so it got pushed to the Monday. And I remember watching, and ESPN does a phenomenal montage regarding Terry Fox. I remember watching it during, quote unquote, a math period. And someone would come in and be like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Terry Fox. It's fantastic. I just was surprised at how much the kids didn't really realize and understand about Terry Fox and his life. And I was showing it, and the other person was like, but this is math. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. This is Terry Fox Day, though. We're going on a walk.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason that I bring it up is because you had mentioned before that we can shut the door and we're kind of left to our own devices. But for you and I, we take that very differently. We take it in that, yes, we shut the door, but we're shutting the door so that we can build or foster positive environment, to foster change on a big level, to show the kids that, like, it doesn't matter how young you are or what you think you can or can't do, you can do given the right conditions, right? And I don't know why I'm sharing that. Maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but it just speaks to me. You speak to me in terms of being able to just do that and foster great ideas and projects within the class. So similarly, kind of along those lines, your toughest teaching moment or the teaching moment you're not proud of, I could say, maybe a teaching fail.
For sure. And it's funny because I remember early in my career being really scared of being called out on something, right? You know, you put a lesson together and you're like, oh, as a kid, you know, that
because there are kids who are wicked smart, right?
Oh,
and you're like,
absolutely.
We've been like, they actually know more than I do.
Yeah. And it's hilarious, but I love all those moments. Like, it used to stress me out. You stumbled and whatever. But admitting to kids are just like, I have no idea. You know, they ask a great question, be like, I don't know. GTS, and let's
Google that stuff.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out together. And it was always super uncomfortable in my first year, but I think every teacher's been there.
But that shows the real.
That and being real and being authentic is huge. And that's when you become relatable to kids. You're not some sort of teaching robot that knows everything. I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But what I'm wickedly good at is figuring out where the heck we can go to learn that thing.
Yeah.
And have that thing, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Done.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd say like...
So fail. Like, was there like a moment that you remember that you're kind of like, oh, that was a fail? Like, going back, you'd be like, okay, I got to change like this. Is there anything that kind of sticks out for you? Like in your kind of 10 plus years of teaching?
I've lost my cool. I know I have. I think every teacher has.
The question that everyone wants to know. Have you ever sworn in front of the kids?
I have. I definitely have. I'm sure my former students can write like a laundry list of the bad words I've said. I'm not proud of that, but sometimes we get really emotional in the classroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes, you know, things, and of course we have to do everything with the utmost of professionalism. We're held to obviously a crazy high standard with that as teachers. We're public servants.
And as we should.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. But we're people too.
Yeah.
And absolutely, you know, we've seen things and go down outside on the yard, and we've seen bullying, and we've seen it, and absolutely. I know I've lost my cool. I'm not proud of it, and but I've learned so much from it too. And I think the kids know, right, when you get worked up, that they've messed up, and hopefully we all learn together. But I mean, it's a family show, so I can't repeat some of the, you know, just kidding.
We'll just bleep things out.
Yeah. And my mom's probably listening to this, so teaching failed. It's tough because I'd like to think for every teaching fail I had, I've turned it around.
Good.
And I've made it into something better the next year or whatever.
Yeah.
There are so many lessons.
Yeah.
I can't even name it. Like lessons where I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I go home and I plan it up. I'm like, this is going to
This is
blow.
so tight.
This is so tight. You know,
It's like
and I'll put
cricket.
time. Yeah, and you know you deliver that lesson, and you think it's gonna take like
Oh,
45
man.
minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes
Yeah.
in, you're like, this is the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Yes.
The kids are like not engaged.
Yeah.
And that's when and
That's what you love about teaching though too.
I
Like,
love it.
That's what I love about kids. Like
and you know this, and probably any other teacher listening knows this. Sometimes it's those lessons where you're like, I don't think it's that good, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway. This is what I've got,
Yeah.
and it ends up being the most like engaging,
Yes.
best discussion.
Yes.
And kids are coming back to me like, that was the bomb.com, and
Yeah.
you're like,
yeah,
really?
it was. I worked so hard on it. You have no idea.
I thought this was kind of like,
Yeah.
you think this is good, way to, but
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Talk to us a little bit about. I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Kindness. What does that mean? Kindness to you?
I think I've kind of,
Because I know you shared with me a little bit about one of your vacations. There was like a kayaker or something.
oh man, yeah, being kind, it's a pillar, and I think I've learned that from my folks. My grandma who passed recently, and she was just a wickedly kind person.
Yeah.
Always did for others before she did for herself.
Yeah. Wow.
I remember we were in Cuba, and I had seen there was a kayaker, and it was a particularly wavy day, and I saw a kayak flip over, and the dude was just not like he was upside down, right?
Yeah.
And I knew he was underwater.
Yeah.
And I remember I was young, right? And I just made that conscious decision to just run, try and help. And I didn't think of anything of it. I didn't think about the fact that I was probably too weak to really do anything when I got there.
Yeah.
But I remember being proud of it later. And the lifeguard, who, it was funny because I guess he had seen what happened and he ran from whatever his perch. And we got there at the same time, and obviously I was in the water, but he actually, saved this man's life.
Yeah.
And I was a little shaken up, and the lifeguard took me aside, and it was an incredibly kind thing for you to do. And I was young, but I took that back. It's like, what you do selflessly for others is how you will be remembered by the world.
I love it.
It's not what you do for yourself. It's what you do for others. And there's been several of those instances. I don't know how things keep happening, but a girl passed out at York University in the middle of a lab, and I was the only one to not be in shock. And I remember looking at the professor imploring her, call 911.
Yeah.
And she was just, right?
That's just shock though, right?
And granted, I became a lifeguard and I've had training in this, so maybe I've had the skills to do this, but
Sure.
I think at the core, one thing I'm proud of myself is that I carry this with me. Like, this is a pillar in my life.
Yeah.
I want to be kind all the time.
Yes.
I want to put others before myself.
Love it.
And because
It's so
that's
rewarding.
how I feel it is. And it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah.
It
always will.
It will. I believe it.
That's crazy. So two questions. Last two questions.
Yeah.
I asked all my guests this.
Nice. Let's do it.
First one, your fondest childhood memory.
It's tough. I will
And
say
remember, this is a family show.
Fondest childhood memory. I will say this. It's a little bit cliche, but my parents worked really hard, and we never had a lot. But one thing we did have, and I feel super blessed, is I was taken places on vacation and stuff like that. And I've got so many childhood memories of being in different countries and being given the opportunity to explore and learn about different cultures and different things. And I remember one that stood out. I don't know why it's popping into my head right now. We were in Havana, in the capital.
No.
Yeah. And I remember seeing a kid who had a fresh cast. It's a really weird childhood memory, by the way. I don't know why it's popping in my head, but and just seeing the pain on his face.
Yeah.
Kid's got no shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw poverty, and I felt it then.
Yeah.
And I remember being emotional. I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's tough.
Yeah.
And then just seeing like that we do live, even though I didn't grow up with whatever, but that's what I took away from that vacation.
Wow.
And I remember being like,
most kids are collecting seashells and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's Levi Gorin, like, understanding the power, like, that poverty exists in this world
and
at such a large.
and kids
yeah,
suffer.
yeah, yeah.
Kids suffer.
Wow.
And
You were here.
and I remember, when we got off wherever we're going on some sort of excursion, and kids would come to the bus and beg.
Yeah.
They weren't
Wow.
begging for money. They were begging for like gum, chiclets.
Yeah, yeah.
American gum, I guess, because Cuba at the time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They couldn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
and it just dawned on me, like some people, they don't even understand like money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But they live in just this situation.
Yeah.
But it's all that they know.
Yeah,
And we became a teacher. It's like, what can we do to help?
yeah.
Right?
That's
That's
quite the
Yeah.
child, the fondest
probably
child.
not a typical childhood.
Yeah,
memory, but
yeah.
I've had a great childhood.
And then Levi Gorin, your favorite food. If this was your last meal on Earth, what would it be?
It'd have to be like a really well seared, medium rare ribeye.
So you've been thinking about this then.
Oh, it's got to be. It's up there, right?
Okay.
With like a garlic mash, on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
side.
yeah.
I would say, I'm a steak and potatoes kind of.
Yeah, you
kind
are.
of guy.
Right? Okay,
I love
okay.
it.
And last parting words, Levi Gorin. What does it mean to be great, be kind to you? What does it mean? I know we touched upon it multiple times, but what does it mean truly to be great, to be kind?
To be great,
you?
to be kind, for me is, I think, if you hold kindness near and dear to your heart and you make it a pillar of who you are,
Yeah,
and you put that positive energy out there,
yeah,
I think it's going to come back to you in spades,
Yeah.
and that will be your greatest contribution, right? It's what people are going to remember you by.
Yeah.
It's what your children are going to remember you by,
Yeah.
and it's just going to make the world a better place. So
love it.
we all need to be a little bit kinder, and
Yeah.
therefore we will be a little bit greater.
Yeah, yeah. Levi Gorin, thank you so much for sharing your time with us, speaking your truth,
Pleasure's been
sharing all of those wonderful nuggets, from teaching, coaching, to saving people's lives, all of the incredible things that you've done. I want to thank you for your friendship. You're one of my best friends. But just I really appreciate you taking the time just to come on here, jump on here on the podcast, and just share with everyone your experiences, your childhood, and everything. And I know a lot of people will get so many wonderful nuggets out of this.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure. As always, you guys know the drill. Be great, be kind. Have a fantastic week. And join me for next podcast for our next guest. As always, be great, be kind. I'm going to repeat it again. Have a great one. Take care. Bye.